man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, take a look at my life. 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in paradise, that makes me think of two.
Let's get into it, the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I am live currently on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and the YouTubes. Neil Young is in the news, and I've been going over. Oh, Neil. Oh, you know, sometimes in live shows, folks, you just.
I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, take a look at my. I'm a lot like you.
All right. Okay, we're back. I've been going over some of these lyrics. I've been looking at what Neil Young isn't so young after all. I'm at the point in the lyric where it says this: lullabies, look in your eyes, run around the same old town. Doesn't mean that much to me to mean that much to you. I've been first and last. Look at how the time goes past. But I'm alone at last, rolling home to you. Guess what, Neil Diamond? You ain't rolling home to Spotify because they kicked you off. This is what happens. A little redemption, as they say. Neil Young got in trouble, pushed back against Spotify, and what did Spotify say? No thanks. They kicked him off. They kicked him off everything. It's almost hysterical in a sense, because you would think like Spotify would have Neil Young's back, and like as all these artists, they feel like they need to make their stance and stuff like that. But in essence, he got exactly what he deserved. Why ask for Joe Rogan be taken off? It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. And why, as an artist, why would you be pushing for censorship? That makes no sense to me. As an artist, you should know that art comes from pain and it comes from learning and growing. And so the idea of censoring someone as Joe Rogan, that all his podcast is about is learning and growing and bringing on people onto his podcast platform to have a conversation and maybe not act like, most of our generation these days where they just know everything. And I follow the science and I follow this information and I follow this, and this, as opposed to, asking more questions. Because when we ask more questions to different people, or different experts in different fields, we can gain in knowledge. Not all of us came straight out of the womb knowing everything there is to be known. And so like science, we don't know everything and we're growing and learning. So Joe Rogan will have people on his podcast to have that conversation. But there are people out there like Neil Young, and I'll get to in a second, that want to censor, take him down, dismiss the conversation, get rid of the conversation, instead of, doing what science is supposed to be and showing him he's wrong through data and information. But everyone is so concerned with misinformation. And you know what misinformation and censorship is? It's a push. There's a reason the government constantly pushes for controlling misinformation, because they want to control the narrative. They want to control the speech. They want to control your minds. Because when you can control the people, running for office or pushing legislation down that in the end will ruin your life or make your life worse, but make their life better, they will do it. And when they can censor people, then and only then does it become so much easier and so much quicker to gain control over you. Spotify reported in the process of removing music from folk rock star Neil Young after the 76-year-old gave an audio platform the ultimatum: remove the incredibly popular podcast host, the #1 podcast in all the world. Remove him or lose my music. And I'm so thankful there are people like Spotify that are willing to have Joe Rogan on their podcast platform. I mean, it's a no-brainer, because anybody that studies economics or business, has a business mind, they would see the #1 podcast and go, you know what? Put it on our platform and only our platform. So they did the smart thing. And I'm getting so tired with these corporations, politicians, and quote unquote experts so quick and so willing to dismiss the conversation in favor for top-down information, as opposed to, not holding sacred information and allowing the masses to pick up and put down what they deem as truth. And then ultimately, through trial and error, through the masses, come the ultimate truth. Because as I always say, in a crowded room full of 10 people, there's going to be 1 or 2 idiots. And the rest of the people will be able to figure it out. But they're trying to make these 1 or 2 idiots to be the majority, or like what we need to be afraid of. And they always want an us versus them mentality. They always want to take out that man or woman, whoever the person that's pushing this information. As always, those are my thoughts on Neil Young. Southern man, don't need him around anyhow.
I'm a lot like you. Hey man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you.
What up, beep beep? Oh man, why? Why I don't? The whole trying to shut down speech is I'm honestly more surprised of how many people are willing to censor other people and thinking that it'll never come back to bite them in the butt. And it ultimately will in the long run. You think you're on the right side of history? Just wait 1 week. Dozens of Democrats urge Biden to cancel student loan debt up to $50,000 okay. Here we go. Let's get into this. In a letter to President Joe Biden on Tuesday, more than 80 Democrat lawmakers asked the president to cancel up to $50,000 in student loan per debt borrower. The letter, which included a signature, Senate Majority Chuck Schumer, who's level 10 bad guy on any video game, began thanking Biden for extending the student loan pause, a move he made in December. And he then requested he permanently cancel federal student loan debt. But canceling, it's always like your first step in the door. $50,000. My generation has a problem with taking ownership of their actions, taking ownership of their problem, taking ownership of who they are. And I don't understand why so many people in my generation who went to college, who went to get these degrees that they don't even eventually use. And of course, it was pushed on us as kids. All right. It was pushed on me as a kid. You gotta go to college. You gotta go to college. Go to college. Get the college experience. Party, meet people. the college experience is worth how much you pay in education. It's not necessarily a degree you want. It's the college experience. You gotta live in a dorm. You're gonna party with your bros. You're gonna party with the hoes, and you're gonna have a great time. This is college experience. You gotta do it. Doesn't matter the degree. You just do it. Oh my god. That's what was pushed on me since a kid. You know, spread your butterfly. You're a butterfly. You're independent. People want to hear your voice. Get out and do these things. You're going to be amazing. And instead, you know, colleges continually just rose the price of college higher and higher. You have these huge cities that are just for the colleges. You know, there's no industry in some of these towns. It's just the college. We have our huge sports arenas. And in these cities with nothing else but a college, and then the price for admissions kept going up, and teachers kept getting paid more, and they had people on tenure, and it became so profitable to be in college, and blah 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 blah. And now we have a huge generation of people with huge debt that don't know what to do with debt, and we're never taught what debt is, how we're supposed to get rid of debt. We're never taught how to budget. We weren't taught that learning to live within your means is a good thing. We were never taught that. We were taught to just spread your wings, fly, you know, go out to eat all the time, buy a new car. You got to have a new cell phone. You got to have a new computer. Don't be uncomfortable with your technology. Don't be uncomfortable with your life. Go to college, get the college experience. We were constantly taught that, as then all my friends came out of college with crazy debt. When you had someone like me who just worked all throughout college, I didn't have the college experience because I was paying off college as I was going, like one of those psycho people who were like, you know what, I want to graduate debt free. But now we have an entire group of people who constantly push off their student loan debt and constantly put the minimum payment down, and they think, you know what, I'm going to be paying this loan for the rest of my life. And I think, yeah, you are. Because you're not aggressive enough. And we have an entire generation of people that don't want to face consequences in life. We just want the free things. We want free healthcare. We want free this. Why doesn't government take care of me for this? And it's almost like they did it on purpose. But I digress. Learn how to save. Learn how to take care of your finances. It's important. Don't rely on the government to save you. But at the same time, this is what they want. That's why they push for this. They want the government to come in and save your life, because then you can rely on the government for everything. And nobody with a brain thinks that's a good idea. I've never been to a government establishment and gone, this place is run efficiently. People are nice. It's clean inside. Everything's up to date, and they have an entrepreneur spirit, always look for the next best thing. They're not all settled and bored and tired and waiting for their pensions and just ready to clock out and have that can-do attitude to go above and beyond. Every government facility always goes above and beyond. They don't just do the bare minimum, right? Wink, wink. Yeah, I want them to take care of my health. And I want them to be in charge of what goes in my body and what procedures I should be allowed to have, because, you know, can't afford it at this moment. Let me know your thoughts on this borrower thing, because I'd rather have this generation of people who decided, I'm going to take on a $60,000 school loan for my theater degree, to reap what they sow and maybe get to work. Maybe do what I do and live off chicken and rice and broccoli for a while. Don't go out to eat and live within your means. Drive a hoopty car like myself so you can pay off school. Quit living like you aren't in major debt. Beep beep. No profit motive on student loans. There's no profit motive. Right. I just, like, I understand the frustration of an entire generation of kids that went to college, that were pushed college, and they want to blame, you know, the teachers, they want to blame the boomers, they want to blame the parents, whatever, of the reason why they went to college instead of taking it on themselves and thinking, you know what, shouldn't have got that degree, shouldn't have pulled out that credit card, shouldn't have bought that new car, shouldn't have bought that house, shouldn't have bought that extra whatever addition to the house, and I'm just going to work my you-know-what off, get that second job, do whatever I have to do to pay off this loan. But instead, we have a generation of people who are just waiting and hoping the government will come through and save their lives, save their money, because that's what they want. They want you to rely on them for your security, your hope, your dreams, your passion, your everything. That's what they want. They want it, and they will get us the precious. All right, next story. Let's get into the next one. Court pick. New SCOTUS coming down hot. New SCOTUS. Justice Breyer about to retire. Sorry about this. I'm going to fix this. This is what happens when you do a live show. Things don't. Ha 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 ha. Look at that. Okay. Justin Breyer to retire, giving Biden first court pick. This guy. Get your man pretty. Will it be Kamala Harris? I saw there was a bunch of questions being asked today. We'll get into those questions later about it potentially being Kamala Harris. I think that's hilarious. The only thing I've had the hugest problem with is everything I've seen about this SCOTUS pick is Biden going to pick a black woman? And that's great. But I'm getting so tired of racism in 2022 where we think that is going to be progress. How about just pick the most qualified person that applies for the job? I can't imagine being if Biden came out and said, you know what, I'm going to pick a black woman SCOTUS. People are going to go, great. So that person, whoever it is going to go in and apply and go through the process, get nominated, all that stuff, and that person forever will be picked because they are the best black woman choice available, as opposed to just being the best available. And that's why I have a huge problem with it. It doesn't help us in any way. It only encourages segregation more. Unlike Clarence Thomas, who was picked because he was the best available, and he's fantastic. Depending on what your belief system is and how you believe government should be run. But I just can't imagine, I can't imagine going to a job and they're like, we got to find a redhead. If we don't find a redhead, we're going to go down. And then people are looking at me at the job like, you know what? I think you got the job because you're a redhead, not because you're the best available. I can't imagine what that does to your psyche. I can't imagine, because you're not going to be accepted as much. You're not going to be loved as much. You're just going to go down as, how is it an achievement if it's a forced achievement? You know what I mean? It's like, you can't, the first black man to go into the Major League Baseball. They didn't go, we need one black guy on our team. Who's it going to be? That was a grind. It was difficult. You put up with a lot. But instead, you have somebody who's forcing the issue, and the celebration won't be as strong because it'll feel like a token gift. And again, as always, the white liberal is here to save the day and make everything worse. Better. God, thank you, Biden. Go get some ice cream. Ginger equity. Yeah, thank you. Where's the ginger equity? And when does that start to kick in? Because I'm starting to feel like it isn't a thing, and I'm being triggered by the day. Thank you, Beep Beep, for shouting that out to me. Okay, let's listen to this. Okay. The Surgeon General had some kind words about Joe Rogan. The Surgeon General. Stick to health. But okay, we'll talk about this. Let's see what MSNBC says in the interview.
Rogan, who hosts the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, has frequently promoted unproven methods for treating COVID-19 and downplayed the need for vaccines.
Promoted by just having a conversation and by just having people on his podcast, but I digress.
Last year, Spotify purchased his podcast library for an estimated $100 million. Dr. Murthy, what do you think are the best ways to push back on misinformation about COVID that continues to be aggressively pushed, whether it be Joe Rogan's podcast or all over Facebook?
What's misinformation? I think it's whatever YouTube decides is misinformation.
Well, Mika, it's such an important question because we can have the best science available, we can have the best public health expertise available, but it won't help people if they don't have access to accurate information. Something I've always believed as a doctor is that people have the right to make their own decisions, but they also have the right to have accurate information to make that decision with. Now, when it comes to how we root out the misinformation in society right now, and give people access to accurate information, we've got to do several things. Number one, we've got to recognize that our technology platforms, whether particularly social media, these have an important role to play. These are the predominant places where we're seeing misinformation spread. These platforms have still not stepped up to do the right thing and do enough, I should say, to reduce the spread of misinformation. But each of us also has a role to play here because we all have platforms, and particularly if you're somebody who has a large following, whether you're an entertainer, a politician, in the media, it's your responsibility, all of our responsibilities, to make sure that we are thoughtful in what we are sharing. This is not just about entertainment. It's not just about garnering clicks. This is about people's lives. And we have seen time and time again that misinformation costs people their lives. We all have this is not just about what government can do. This is about companies and individuals recognizing that the only way we get past misinformation is if we are careful about what we say and we use the power that we have to limit the spread of that misinformation. That's going to be a critical part of how we get through this pandemic.
These people, he's got like major Mark Zuckerberg vibes about him. It's very robotic. I just wonder what he would be like if his favorite sports, football team, soccer team, whatever, won at the last second. How he would celebrate. It's a good win. They worked hard, did everything they could, and we went after it. Again, why are we even having this conversation? Joe Rogan claims himself, I'm not an expert. I'm just a dumb comedian. And he invites people on the podcast to have a conversation. He's the most important person in journalism today because they are actually having a conversation as opposed to, just saying, here's the facts, here's the truth, and you're not allowed to question the truth, and you're not allowed to look into the truth. You just have to put the truth down your throat and take it because that is what the science was always about. Yeah. Thank you, Beep Beep. Doctor, thought, police. And that's that's what it kind of boils down to. And that's what it honestly freaks me out about all this push for getting rid of misinformation, getting rid of people like Joe Rogan and stuff like that is constantly just policing thought, policing ideas, policing conversation, policing questions, policing just everything in our lives. And they feel like they have the power to do that because people welcome it. People welcome this idea to be like, tell me what's right and what's wrong. I don't want to look into it myself. I don't want to think about it. I just want people to tell me what the truth is. And it's very medieval mindset of just I think, therefore I am. I'm not capable of thinking as a human being. I need someone to tell me how to think. I need someone to tell me what is true because I don't have the capacity to do that as a human being. And that just makes me it just makes me sad. You know what I mean? I mean, you feel me? All right, next story. Oh, let's get into some videos. Hey man, take a look at your life. I'm a lot like you, girl. More officers shot. Oh, Justin Trudeau. This guy. Okay, is this guy real? We get a thought police. Is this guy real? Let's see what he says.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
Those sick truckers
represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other, who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
That's right. Follow the science and you will get your freedoms. Rights. I like that last part. Let's hear that again.
Continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a
Follow the science and you can have your rights and freedoms, okay? Fringe trucker association of miles and miles long of Canadian truckers who are going against the mandates. They're speaking out of turn and having their own voice. That isn't allowed here. They must fall in line in order to have your rights and freedoms. If you're allowed to enter this jail cell and these four walls, close the door, and you can be a good Canadian too. Okay? Oh, God. It's just, he's another like Zuckerberg type character where I just like.
Small fringe minority.
Small fringe
of people
minority.
Who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other.
I like his emotion in his voice right there. Who have been there for each other.
For each other, who know that following the science.
Have you been there for me?
Who have been there.
Who have been there.
Canadians who have been there.
They've been there. South Carolina would make it illegal to ask for vaccine status, including oh my gosh. Is that true? Wow. South Carolina. I'm going to put this in the screen right here. South Carolina bill would make it illegal to ask vaccine status, including fines up to $14,000, but will it pass? Shout out to South Carolina leading the way. Because why does my job at customer service for a tech company need to know about my vaccine status? Oh, don't you love? Okay, finally. Let's hear Jen Psaki.
I believe that government spending is a big factor.
Go ahead.
Just a quick question on inflation. Many people believe that government spending is a big factor in the current inflation levels.
Yes.
Can you speak to concerns that spending plans that come out of Build Back Better aren't paid for and so could mean higher deficits and more inflation in the future?
Aren't paid for? Build Back Better is paid for.
Yeah, we're printing money. Paid for.
Entirely.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you speak to the concerns that are coming in that it's
Who are
not
the concerns
actually
from, though? But who's saying it's not paid for?
Oh, no.
Because there have been a range of economists saying it's entirely paid for.
Oh, who are these economists,
and that has
Jen?
been a priority for the president. It has also been concluded by a number of Nobel laureates and experts.
Who are these people?
From,
Say their name. Experts.
A
Who are
range of
these
economic
experts?
Experts on the outside that it will not contribute to inflation. So those are the.
I love that she's allowed to speak in vague terms, but then she calls this girl out for speaking in vague terms, which, to be fair, you should call her out and be like, who are these people? But at the same time, if I was that girl in the audience, I would go, who are these experts? Who are these people? Name them. Say their business. It's always important to know your information before you ask a vague question like that. But good on Jen, but also bad on her at the same time. Oh, here we go. Peter Doocy. I know Peter Doocy, they have like a lot of catching up to do with Peter Doocy. Uh-oh. What is this? Reason why... Beep, beep. The reason why these hive people are... Yeah, okay. All right. Let's get into this. This might be a little spicy.
And then on COVID origins, you guys are talking a lot about sanctions for Russia if they dare to invade Ukraine. What about sanctions for China at any point for misleading the world about the early days of the global pandemic?
We have used sanctions as a tool as it relates to our concerns about the behavior of a range of countries, including officials in China. But I have nothing to preview for you at this point.
Is it possible down the line, though, that sanctions would be considered some other form of punishment for their actions in the earliest days of the pandemic?
Well, you know, we strongly believe, and the president has been clear and directly clear about the importance of them being transparent and providing data and information related to the origins of the pandemic. But I don't have anything to predict for you in terms of additional actions.
No, they're not doing
The last one
anything.
would be, the president said for months that he had not spoken directly to Xi about the COVID origins investigation. Now he says that he did talk to Xi about it, but nobody else was there. If the president had that conversation, did it work? And is Xi now playing ball?
What are you getting at there? Are you suggesting the president wasn't being honest about his own conversation with Xi?
Yes.
No, but the story did change. For months, he was asked about it, and he said that he had not directly asked him about the COVID origins investigation.
We don't share every detail of every diplomatic conversation. You know that. The president answered a direct question just a week ago, or I think it was a week ago, yes, and provided that information.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And then
Oh, we'll never get... honestly, we're never going to get to the bottom of COVID. We just won't. I think they're hoping you and I just completely forget about it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Peter Ducey is about to ask Jen Psaki about Kamala Harris being the SCOTUS pick. Because they all assume it, because they all know that Kamala Harris's poll numbers are absolutely trash.
Thank you. When you were asked about the vice president possibly being selected as a Supreme Court nominee, you said you're not going to speak to any considerations. Does that mean she is being considered?
Again, Peter, I'm not going to speak to the reports of a Supreme Court justice retirement that hasn't been announced.
So theoretically, would someone who's...
Theoretically, I do like that you preface it. I appreciate that.
Just wondering, hypothetically, theoretically, would someone who was an attorney general of a large state and who served with many key Senate votes be an attractive candidate to the president for an open Supreme Court seat?
I see what you did there, Peter. But the president has every intention, as he said before, of running for re-election, and for running for re-election with Vice President Harris on the ticket as his partner.
Sure.
But again, I will just reiterate that I have nothing more to offer in terms of specifics or information on the reports.
I can't imagine that ticket. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, that will be an absolute disaster. I bet they're going to try to push her to be on Supreme Court 110%, because then they'll be like, I guess you can't be a vice president. We tried everything. We put her on the SCOTUS. She was the best person available. Can you imagine Kamala Harris on the Supreme Court? And we think that the Supreme Court is meant to uphold the Constitution and not be a political wing? Sure. Wink. All right, let's... U.S. diplomat officials forced under... Oh no! Ew! U.S. diplomat officials forced to undergo anal COVID tests in China. Ew! Dude, gross. God, come on, man. I mean, what in the heck, dude? I can't imagine agreeing to it. Oh, another Kamala Harris question.
Is there any scenario in which the president would select his vice president Kamala Harris for the Supreme Court?
Again, I'm not going to speak to any considerations, preparations.
Cammie would be the $3 trillion bill at... Oh, God. We're gonna be like that. You know that. We're gonna have like $1,000 bill soon. It just...
Lists, And as we've stated earlier, and you heard the president say, there's a long history of Supreme Court justices determining when they may retire, if they retire, and announcing that. And we're going to, that remains the case today.
Is there any scenario?
Hey, what is this? Okay. Here we go. Here we go. This is my problem with the media and my problem with politics in general in today's economy, the tokenism. Let's listen to this.
Thanks, Jen. Two subjects. So let's say hypothetically, a Supreme Court justice was to retire and announce it on his or her own terms. Does President Biden plan to honor his pledge to nominate a black woman to the court?
Well, I've commented on this previously. The president has stated and reiterated his commitment to nominating a black woman to the Supreme Court, and certainly stands by that. For today, again, I'm just not going to.
You know, it's almost like I would rather them just not say that and just think it, and then instead just say we're going to nominate the best person available, so that person knows when they get in, they are not there because they're a black woman. They are there because they are the best candidate available, because we don't like segregation. We don't like racism. We support and want to look at each other as individuals and also as equals. Not that, oh, this white guy also applied, but he's not going to get the job because, well, he's another white guy and we can't have that. Yeah, that's the only reason. But you're way more qualified than this person. But we had to pick her because we said we're going to pick a black woman. And she can walk in and know she didn't get the job based on merit. She got the job based on merit and what you look like. I have too much pride in myself. I have too much integrity. Self-image, whatever you want to say. I would never want to apply to a job because they're looking for a ginger to fill a vacancy. What are we, like 3 years old? I mean, it's just so dumb. Can't do it. She's holding the ginger community back. Do not rope her in with me. Just because she's ginger and because I also have red hair, but I'm a strawberry blonde. Do not put us in the same boat, okay? We're not all the same, all right? We didn't all come from the same background. Not all of us had the same privilege. She probably had different privilege. I had the ginger. I got beat up a lot for being ginger. It's just all right. What? Here we go.
10,000 jobs. And last week, I point out that Intel announced a $20 billion plan to build a semiconductor manufacturing facility in Ohio, one of the largest of its kind in our nation's history. It's going to create 10,000 jobs. And I might add, one of the reasons for inflation being high as it is, 1/3 of the reason inflation is up is the cost of vehicles.
Their mic is so bad.
Vehicles is up. They don't have the component parts, meaning significantly the semiconductor.
What? Okay, let's hear this one more time. Biden says this is 1/3 of the reason that inflation is the way it is.
1,000 jobs. And I might add, one of the reasons for inflation being high as it is, 1/3 of the reason inflation is up is the cost of vehicles. And the reason the cost of vehicles is up, they don't have the component parts, meaning significant.
1/3 is the reason why inflation is up. Not that we're printing money, not that we're expending it exorbitantly, not that we're in massive debt, not that we're giving money out willy-nilly to countries like we just gave the Taliban like $400 million. Not that we have a spending problem, not that we have a printing problem. None of those things are true. It's because of those freaking cars and how much they're charging for stuff that they can't fulfill. It's those cars. That's the 1/3 of the inflation. And if you believe that, I feel sorry for you. All right. I mean, that's like the most unbelievable quote I've ever heard. Of course, that'll make the cars go up, but that doesn't make it. Of course, the car price will go up, but that doesn't mean inflation across the board will happen. It's just. Just hard sometimes. Went to Dearborn driving, you know, what up there? What? All right. I don't know what this is. Let's listen to this.
But I might point out, when I went to Dearborn driving that, was up there. I don't know, man. I think the press thought I was crazy. I enjoyed it so much going up and your new EV factory and that Hummer.
What the frick did he just say? What the heck was that? What the frick? Okay, I need to hear this one more time. Grandpa Simpson doesn't understand scarcity or exchange rates. No, he does not, beep beep. The idea that like the auto industry is the reason why my Chipotle burrito went up $4 or $5, or housing market is the way it is, or exchange rate of the dollar compared to other currency. Okay, I'm gonna listen to this one more time. This is the most insane thing I've ever heard.
But I might point out, when I went to Dearborn driving that, was up there. I don't know, man. I think the press thought I was crazy. I enjoyed it so much going up and your new EV factory and that Hummer.
What the frick? What the heck is going on? Most popular president ever. Praise God. While he's talking, this lady right here, she's just looking like, dude, I don't know what you're saying. I literally have no idea what you're saying, dude. Okay, here we go. Biden asking for a job again.
That Hummer, my Lord, you guys, have you seen this vehicle? It weighs 3 times what my Corvette weighs. When it was brand new, the Corvette was 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. This is about 4.1.
Actually, models up to 0 to 3 seconds.
Oh.
0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
It's electric, Biden.
Okay, I'm looking for a job, Mary. But anyway, all kidding aside,
How's that a joke? And what? It's so fast. I'm looking for a job. How is that a joke? That doesn't make any sense. God. It's funnier to laugh at than laugh with. You're like, I don't even know why we're laughing. It's so fast. I want a job. What's going on? Who is this? Okay. I need somebody to look at me in my face and say, Derek, this is actually hilarious. You don't get it because Biden needs a job and the car is so fast that it forces him to just evaluate his entire existence, his entire livelihood to work another job, to be the Walmart greeter he always dreamed to be. You know, I don't know what's going on. All right. Oh, Biden. Here we go. Early retirement question. He's going, come on. Let's give it to Kamala.
come on, man.
Justice Breyer's going to retire.
Let's go. Thank you. Let's go. Thank you.
Your thoughts on Justice Breyer's retirement, sir?
Let's go. Thank you, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you.
Guys, we're going to continue with the meeting, please. Thanks so much.
Every justice has the right and opportunity to decide what he or she is going to do and announce it on their own. There has been no announcement from Justice Breyer. Let him make whatever statement he's going to make, and I'll be happy to talk about it later. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, so we're going to...
I'll be happy to talk about this later. I'm going to get into this issue, okay?
Thank
you so much.
We're going to start by asking Tom. Tom.
Commander-in-Chief, most popular president ever. He's struggling right now. I wish he was just a heavy drinker, but his brain is... I know. I wish there was like some kind of excuse. Oh gosh. What? Okay. Here we go again. Let's play the game. What is Biden actually saying?
A real breakthrough began last year when Mary Barra, excuse me, Mary for referring to her, I said it again, and Jim Farley of Ford, GM and Ford, and a real breakthrough began last year when Mary Barra, excuse me.
Mary Barra. Oh man. You know, what's this? Let's get into this. Former NHL player condemns Canadian COVID response.
But what's happening, Laura, is right now in Canada, we have one of the biggest revolutions happening. And you probably haven't heard about it because nobody's talking about it. But right now, look up the videos. 50,000 truckers and about 1.4 million people headed to the Parliament in Ottawa.
According to Justin, they're fringe.
Until Trudeau resigns or they give us back all of our freedoms and rights. You know, when you separate people, it's easy to, create power through separation. But like I said, what we're seeing in the country right now with these truckers, and it honestly, it has ignited the whole entire country of Canada. And
so great.
I know that, I've been spending a lot of time on social media helping, promote the truckers and getting their word out and all of that. And
but to be fair to this guy, I don't see a lot of mandate protests on corporate media. I just don't see any of it. The only videos I see where like tens of thousands of people are protesting are on Twitter or, internet accounts that are showing this video, because I don't get why some of the most peaceful protesting going on against the government mandates aren't being broadcasted and shown around the world. It doesn't make any sense to me. But as I always say, corporate media is so selective with what they talk about. They don't actually want to do journalism. They don't actually want to do deep thinking stuff. They just want to have these fun little talks where they talk about, AOC saying something crazy or Biden going to get ice cream. Like, those are the heavy hitting news stories you get. You don't get like this massive trucker, protests and these people going to Ottawa protesting, saying they're going to stay until Justin Trudeau leaves. You just don't get that. You get just some kind of just stupid story about some kind of politician doing something silly. I just get so bored with corporate media so much. Canada needs to learn the words in the course of human. Yeah, the course of human. Yes, Canada. They're just not that free there, and they're a perfect example of why freedom of speech is so freaking important. People just take it so lightly here. They're just like, yeah, we need to censor these people. We need to dismiss their voices because they're spreading whatever information is wrong of the day that the church of the elite, the politicians, corporate media, whoever deems as true and untrue for the day. And that's why Thailand becomes the first Southeast Asian country to decriminalize marijuana. I don't know why I assume Thailand was already that way. Maybe I'm just crazy. Oh no. Okay. All right, we're back to Fauci has some words for Tucker.
I think the data speaks for themselves. We make recommendations based on the scientific data and the observations, particularly those that Dr. Walensky has just mentioned. The overwhelming proportion of people in this country who are vaccinated have gotten mRNA vaccinations, either the Moderna or the Pfizer. And if you look at the data, you can't walk away from the facts. And the facts are stunningly obvious when you look at the hospitals.
I love when you could just say facts or experts and you don't actually have to cite any of these facts or cite any of these experts or refer to any of these studies. You could just say this is an overall consensus. The experts agree that you can't argue with the facts.
And deaths among unvaccinated versus vaccinated and boosted. So there really isn't much to say about that, except that the facts speak for themselves.
That's right. It's true because it's true. How can you argue against that? Truth is truth. Love is love. Fauci is Fauci. And God, that Disney Fauci documentary is incredible. Just, oh. We're doing a great job as a country. I'm excited about the war with Ukraine and Russia. It's going to be dope. Oh no.
For being
Los Angeles student removed from class over a mandate. It's good to see that some kids still have some cojones these days. They're not all just big wusses. You know what I mean? All right, let's watch this. LA student fights back.
For being here. Ella, what's it like to be treated like this by people who are supposed to be there to help you learn and grow?
Yeah, it was more of a feeling of like disappointment and, like abandonment that I felt coming from, like my entire school administration. It was more that and less hurtful. I just felt, like I was kind of like kicked to the curb by my entire school, they were supposed to be the ones, backing me up, encouraging me to attend school, to go learn. It's not every day that you hear a teenager wants to go to school. But in this case, that's all we wanted here. We weren't here to protest. We weren't here to make a point. We weren't here to start any, drama or commotion on campus. We were just there to go to school.
For being here. Ella, wow. What's it like to...
Honestly, that's what a civil rights leader looks like. Everyone is talking crap about you. Everyone is telling you you're stupid, but you go out and you do what's necessary to show everyone that your rights, your freedoms are more important than your comfortability, your safety, and your clout, your friends, your social media influence, whatever. You're willing to stand up for what you believe is right, regardless of what your friends, peers, the science, the experts say that you should do. Good on this girl. We need more students to be like this, not afraid to speak up, not afraid to stand out, because what you are told by media, corporate media, politicians, whatever, is as the people that are like standing up for justice, standing up for what's right, they're not standing up. They don't have to stand up. No one's fighting back. They're in fact praised. But you get somebody like this who's standing up for the rights, and she gets shut down and mocked and left alone, like she said, neglected. That's what a civil rights leader does. Just kidding. She's just a crazy white Trump supporter. God, I get so bored of these arguments sometimes. Greece imposes steep fines for unvaccinated residents over 60. Why'd they do this to this guy? Look at that. The neck beard. It's a cheered. Hey man, look at life. I'm a lot like you. Oh, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate every single one of you. Oh, this story right here. Okay, let's watch this. This story, I think this will be my final little hoorah. This story is important, and it's important to have this conversation right here.
Jacqueline Teague says during this pandemic, her speech therapy clinic has seen an enormous shift in the ages of their patients. Before the pandemic, only 5% of patients were babies and toddlers. Today, it has soared to 20%. Many parents calling it COVID delayed.
We've seen a 364% increase in patient referrals of babies and toddlers from pediatricians and parents.
And they are children that are having a difficult time speaking.
Speech delayed.
Babies start learning how to speak by reading lips as young as 8 months. So what happens when lips and faces are
mirroring,
covered up
as
by
they
masks?
say?
Well, therapists say for some kids, they can work around the mask and still learn to speak perfectly fine. But for others, it can cause speech delays.
There's no research out there yet to say that this could be causing speech and language delays, but most definitely it's, I'm sure, a factor. It's very important kids do see your face to learn.
Yeah, 20% increase, I would say that's a factor.
So they're watching your mouth.
That's orange. Can you say orange? That was a good try.
Brianna Gay is raising 5 children,
good
but it's
try.
her youngest who needs therapy.
It definitely makes a difference when the world you're growing up in, you can't interact with people in their face. That's super important to babies. So
We're seeing a lot of things that look just like autism. They're not making any word attempts and not communicating at all with their family.
Yeah, because they're walking around with masks, they're not talking. We have an entire generation of kids who are deeply affected by the pandemic, and no one's talking about it. We have suicide through the roof, we have depression, anxiety through the roof, and we're just clicking along, pretending it's not a problem, pretending like it's not going to affect the generations to come, these young kids. It's going to be a huge problem later on in life. We need to address them and stop being so afraid to have these conversations. Stop trying to be worried about canceling people, getting rid of speech, misinformation, whatever. Let's actually have scientists do science instead of just saying that, yeah, but this kid can't talk, but has this kid been boosted yet? Because that's the real issue we got to get down to it. Just, what are you guys' thoughts on that? That makes me so sad. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, joining me for the Derek O'Shea Show. It means a lot to me. As always, if you want to support my show, you go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. The link is in the bio if you want to, fight back against big tech censorship, fight back against corporate media and stuff like that. Support your independent podcaster. Tell your friends and family about the Derek O'Shea Show. The only way it grows through you. You're welcome to share this on all social media platforms. I'd greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And thanks for coming out and hanging out with me and being live with me. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Oh, gosh. Stop your begging already and just go away. Have a great day, everyone. I freaking love you guys. Bye. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution.